Hello there, a very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. I'm Pedulu Karnaratna. First up is a look at tonight's top stories. No room for extremism in Sri Lanka. President stresses. Prime Minister accuses defeated political parties of fueling racism. Minister Vijitha Herath urges Sri Lankan diaspora to invest in tourism development. Pillan to be interrogated under 90-day detention order. Attorney General files fresh indictments against Yoshitha Rajapaksa and Daisy Forrest. Navy seizes fishing vessel transporting heroin and ice. Millions told to stay indoors as China braces for strong winds. People weighing less than 50 kilograms may be easily blown away. Starting off with news here at home, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says that defeated political parties are still attempting to spread racism in the country. Addressing a public gathering held in Mannar, she said that the law will be enforced equally for all.
A public rally of the National People's Power was held in Mannar today under the leadership of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya.
All this time, policy decisions were made on a personal basis. These decisions mostly spread racism as well. Such defeated political movements to this very day are attempting to spread racism in the country. They cannot stand seeing the people of Sri Lanka unite, putting aside all differences. Keep in mind that we are a government that has outright rejected racism. We are here to unite the people. This country needs reconciliation. Mothers have shed enough tears over their lost children. There are thousands of mothers who live every single day in pain, not knowing what happened to their children. We should relieve them of that pain. We need to heal them. We will enforce the law on everyone equally. Having high-profile connections will no longer help any case. As government, we have the responsibility of ensuring the safety of all our citizens. When we take decisions towards that, we do not take anything else, such as connections or religions, into consideration. At a certain point in history, being Muslim was considered a threat. Being a Tamil was a threat. Decisions were made based on the identity of the individual concerned. Our government is not one like that. School children have not been taught how to interact with each other well. Our society does not teach us anything as such. All of this needs to change. We all need to be well educated in history. We should get to know about each other's cultures. We should bring closer to ourselves what used to be distant. We need to have a better understanding about each other. This is the path to achieving true reconciliation in the country. We are a government that constantly looks into paths to improvement and achieving reconciliation. President Kumara Dissanayake emphasized that no form of extremism nor any movement supporting it will be allowed in Sri Lanka. Now, he expressed these views at a rally in Batiklo. Another rally, part of the National People's Power's series of events held in the lead-up to the local government elections, was held in Batiklo. The rally was held under the patronage of President Kumara Dissanayake.
உலகமென்னும் தேருக்கு உழவனே அச்சாணி மே அப்பகே மௌபூமியை ஸ்ரீலங்கா ஜெயதீபயை ආරක්ෂාව තියෙනවා උඩරිම තියෙන්න ඕනේ හැම දෙයක්ම පස්සෙන් කරගන්න ඕනේ
දැන් අපි බලය අර මාස 6කට ආසන්න කාලයක් ගත වෙමින් කිසි ජාතිවාදී ගැටුමක් අපේ රටේ සිද්ධ වුණාද? හැබැයි මම දන්නවා විශේෂයෙන්ම පරාජයට පත්වෙච්ච කණ්ඩායම්.
It's been around 6 months since we came into power. Have we seen any case of extremism in the country? I'm aware that those who lost the elections are targeting the Muslim community and spreading false news. They say that Anura Kumar's government doesn't care for or treat the Muslim community well. Is that right? I know what's been circulating in the WhatsApp groups. Before you check the messages or the posts on social media, check who posted it first. There's a group behind each and every one of those posts. Do you know who it is? It's a tree. I know there was an issue when a young Muslim was arrested. When the Easter Sunday attacks happened, the Muslim community said they had informed the police about a group under Zahran. They said they had told the government, but no action was taken. Do you remember? As a government, we are here to ensure that such an attack or conflict never happens in this country again. This issue involving the youth is something that arose just like that. They went to a popular supermarket in the country and secretly pasted a sticker. We probed it, then we arrested him. We went through all the details on his phone. There wasn't information indicating clear links to any organization, but there were some phone calls with people who were involved in previous attacks. However, the investigation wasn't based solely on that. We checked his social media. He had watched YouTube videos and posts on social media and had been influenced by them. We have always been against what's happening in Palestine. You have the right to oppose it, to protest against it. We will not interfere with your rights. He was influenced by it. We brought him to his parents. His parents were grateful that their child was saved. That's why we arrested him. This is not something that was done targeting the Muslim community. It was done for the youth, for the country, to eliminate extremism. And we will take every action necessary to ensure that. Is that wrong? There is an extremist idea developing within the Muslim community under the label of super Muslims. Is that what the common Muslims want? An extremist ideology that goes against the wise words of Prophet Muhammad is spreading. Isn't that a threat? Shouldn't we take action against that? Yes. That is not against the Muslim community. It's to protect all people. What happens when you run out of criticism? But here's the thing. I believe that the Muslims will believe that the government is here to protect you and all the people. The black mark on our country is the Easter Sunday attacks. We are taking action against it. We have even arrested a person from this area in connection to it. Isn't that how a government should operate?
අපි මේ පිළිබඳ පරීක්ෂණ ආරම්භ කරලා තියෙනවා. මේ පැත්තෙනුත් කෙනෙක් අත්අඩංගුවට අරන් තියෙනවා. කරන්න ඕනේ නැද නීතිය? මේව තමයි ආණ්ඩුවක් හදලා තියෙන්නේ.
The president explained how the law will be enforced against those involved in corruption.
ලංකාවේ පළමු වතාවට ආණ්ඩුවක් හදලා තියෙනවා. මහජනයාගේ මුදල් සතයක් කොරකම් කරන්න තිය ආණ්ඩුවක්.
For the first time in the history of Sri Lanka, a government has been created where no government representatives steal taxpayers' money. Some people tell us, yes, it's true that you don't steal, but then they ask, what about those who did steal? That's what's happening now. Usually the police came looking for us, but now we are the ones searching for the Inspector General of Police. The law is equal for everyone, including those in power. Isn't that a sign of a great country? We've already put 3 ministers in prison. One of them is from this very area. We can't interfere with the process. The commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption arrested a former chief minister over several charges. While he was in remand custody, a former president told the media that the chief minister only acted on his instructions. He said the chief minister was innocent and that it was actually his fault. As a result, the commission has now summoned the former president as well. Isn't that something? He has been asked to appear on the 17th of April. He responded with a letter saying he will be celebrating the new year on the 17th. Is that revenge? When someone is arrested based on specific allegations, people outside can't just say, no, he's not guilty, I was the one who told him to do it. If that's the case, say to the commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. Did you ever imagine that even former presidents would be summoned? There is a long list. We are taking action.
හිටපු ජනාධිපතිතුරුට සිතාසියයි කියලා හිටපු ජනාධිපතිතුරුත් පොලිමක් ඉන්න හොඳයි මේ රටේ නීතිය හදනවා.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, Vichitha Herath, said that the government will support investment projects proposed by Sri Lankans living overseas to help grow the tourism sector. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism Vichitha Herath expressed these views during a meeting with the Jaffna Chamber of Commerce today.
Establishment of governance mechanism.
යාපනය සංචාරක
කලාපයක් විදිහට
We are ready to transform Jaffna into a development hub. The problem is that tourists currently lack sufficient facilities to stay here for extended periods of time. The available infrastructure is not up to standard. If we develop the area accordingly, we can achieve this goal, not just with hotels, but also by introducing various activities. The Ministry of Tourism has already put forward a plan to address this. You too can invest in this sector. The Sri Lankan diaspora in Switzerland, Canada and the UK have expressed their willingness to start projects and build hotels in Sri Lanka. There is land in this area under the purview of the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority. Proposals related to these lands can be submitted to us now. You are welcome to invest in them. Together, we can develop Jaffna alongside the growing tourism sector. There is no division between us. We must all come together.
අපි ඔක්කොම එකට එකතු වෙමු. නාගල් ඉඩම් බේදම් මිල්ලේ, ඉන බේදම් මිල්ලේ, මද බේදම් මිල්ලේ, සාද බේද ඉල්ලේ, මුල් බේදම් මිල්ලේ. ஆனால் நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் ஐக்கியப்பட வேண்டும். நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் ஒரு தாய் பிள்ளைகளே. நன்றி, வணக்கம். எதிர்காலம் கட்டாயம் சந்திப்போம்.
කන්තලේ මධ්‍ය මහාවිද්‍යාලීය ක්‍රීඩාංගණයට අප්‍රේල් 19 දවස පුරා
අවුරුදු සිරියෙන් පුරවන්න ඔයාලත් එන්න.
අවුරුදු කුමරා කුමරිය බයිසිකල් ධාවන තරගය
උරුපැදීමේ තරගය සහ ජන ක්‍රීඩා රසක් සමග
කුරුණෑගල බැජී සංගීතයට ජනප්‍රිය ගායක ගායිකාවන් ගී ගයන
නැගෙන හිරට අවුරුදු
අප්‍රේල් 19 වනදා දවස පුරා
කන්තලේ මැදිවිදුහල ක්‍රීඩාංගණයේදී. With just 2 days remaining until the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, people across Sri Lanka are busy making final preparations to celebrate the festive season. The first ritual of the New Year is set to take place tomorrow.
According to tradition, the New Year begins when the sun moves from the zodiac sign of Pisces into Aries, an important moment that marks the start of a new astrological new year. Across Sri Lanka, people were seen getting ready for the new year with great enthusiasm.
Hi guys, right now I'm here in Peta in Colombo, and as we can see there are a lot of people who have gathered here to buy clothes and also buy a lot of different items to celebrate Aurudu, the new year this season. And as the vendors say, business is pretty good compared to what it was last year, and as we can see it's people everywhere in numbers who are getting ready to celebrate Aurudu this season, and it's filled here in Colombo, and Sri Lankans are getting ready because the Aurudu season is about happiness and also celebrating with the family and also with the friends.
In Colombo Fort, shops were busy with customers.
Business lang ඇත්තටම ගතියටම යනවා. ඊට පඩිත් වැඩුණා. ඉතින් අපිට මේ අවුරුදු ටිකක් හොඳයි ඇත්තටම.
Pamuno in Maharagama, known for its textile shops, crowds have been gathering since morning, as they have for the past few days, to buy new clothes for the new year.
Business නම් හොඳයි ඇත්තටම සෙනග කැවසෙනවා. කට්ටියට සරු මේ පාර අවුරුද්ද. කොරෝනා වලින් පස්සේ ආපහු මං හිතන්නේ හොඳම අවුරුද්ද මේක. ගොඩක් ඇඳුම් ලාභයි මේ සැරේ. අවුරුදු 10 වගේ කට්ටියට. Full crowd එක කවදාවත් 12 වෙනිදා හිටියේ නෑ. ඇත්තටම සාර්ථකයි මේ අවුරුද්ද හොඳයි.
While Colombo is busy with preparations, other areas are just as lively. In Kiribatgoda, people say the energy is strong and businesses are thriving.
business හොඳටම හොඳයි. මේ සැරේ අවුරුද්ද හොඳටම හොඳයි. මේ පාර හොඳයි. අවුරුදු හොඳයි.
In Gaul too, large crowds came into the town to shop in preparation for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year.
අවුරුද්ද එක්ක බැලුවාම මේ අවුරුද්ද සුබයි.
පාර අවුරුද්ද ජයයි.
පහුගිය අවුරුදු වලට සාපේක්ෂව මේක ඇත්තටම ගොඩක් සාර්ථක අවුරුද්දක් අපිට.
The Southern Expressway has been busy since yesterday, with people heading home to celebrate with their families. Ambalantota saw similar crowds today, with streets full of shoppers.
අවුරුද්ද හොඳයි ජයයි.
මේ සැරේ 2025 අවුරුද්ද සුපිරියයි. ගිනිගිනින්දර වගේ.
Kandy was more crowded than usual, as families were shopping in the Kandy town for last-minute purchases.
මේ සැරේ හොඳයි නේද? සාර්ථකයි අවුරුදු.
මේ දා අවුරුද්ද සරුයි.
නුවර වෙනදාට වඩා වැඩි. ඒ කියන්නේ ගෙන අවුරුද්දට වඩා ගොඩක් වැඩි.
In Kandaruwela Polonnaruwa, preparations were also well underway.
වෙනදාට වඩා සෑහෙන උද්‍යෝගයෙන් මිනිස්සු කැවසෙනවා.
මේ සැරේ අලුත් අවුරුද්ද ඉතාම හොඳයි.
And in Matale too, the town was full of people purchasing items required for their final preparations. With the Sinhala and Tamil New Year just around the corner, people were seen arriving in Colombo Fort and Petta today, eager to head back to their hometowns. To help with the rush, the Sri Lanka Transport Board and private buses have added extra services. Special buses operating to Kandy, Putlam, Dambulla, Gaul and on the high-level and low-level roads. Extra buses were also added from Markumbura, Kadawatha, Kaduwala and Bastian Mawatha bus stands. The Railway Department has also started special New Year trains. "40 extra train journeys will operate to Badulla, Beliata, Anuradhapura, Gaul and Kankasanture. More carriages were also added to the Yaldevi and Rajarata Regina trains.
According to ancient tradition, tomorrow is considered the last day of the old year or the Parana Aurudda, also known as the Konam Day. The bathing ritual for the Parana Aurudda is scheduled for tomorrow. Astrology advises that wood apple leaves be used in a herbal bath that serves to purify both physical and spiritual elements of the body. The Punya Kala or the neutral period begins tomorrow at 8:57 p.m. and ends on Monday at 9:45 a.m. The dawn of the new year is at 3:21 a.m. on Monday.
ඔබේ ගමේ නගරේ දේශපාලනයේ හෙට දවස සතිය දිනවල සවස 6:30ට
ඔන්න මෙදාසරෙත් අවුරුද්දට අපි එනවා
කන්තලේ මධ්‍ය මහාවිද්‍යාලීය ක්‍රීඩාංගණයට අප්‍රේල් 19 දවස පුරා
අවුරුදු සිරියෙන් පුරවන්න ඔයාලත් එන්න.
අවුරුදු කුමරා කුමරි බයිසිකල් ධාවන තරගය
ඔරුපැදීමේ තරගය සහ ජන ක්‍රීඩා රසක් සමග
උරුණෑගල බැජී සංගීතයට ජනප්‍රිය ගායක ගායිකාවන් ගී ගයන
නැගෙන හිරට අවුරුදු
අප්‍රේල් 19 වනදා දවස පුරා
කන්තලේ මැදිවෙදුහල ක්‍රීඩාංගණයේදී.
The Criminal Investigation Department has obtained approval to detain and interrogate Sivanesathure Chandrakanthan alias Pillayan for a period of 90 days. He was arrested in Batiklo on the 8th of April. Sivanesathure Chandrakanthan alias Pillayan was arrested in Batiklo on the 8th of April in connection with an abduction and missing persons case. Public Security Minister Anand Vijaypala, speaking in Parliament recently, said that significant information has emerged suggesting Pillayan's involvement in the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks. Pillayan previously served as the Chief Minister of the Eastern Province and later held the post of State Minister. The Attorney General has once again filed indictments before the Colombo High Court against Yoshit Rajapaksa and his grandmother Daisy Forrest over a joint bank account holding 59 million rupees with an undisclosed source of funds. Investigations have revealed that Daisy Forrest does not possess any known assets and is financially dependent on the Rajapaksa family. The Attorney General had previously filed similar charges under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act in connection with the same account. The fishing vessel seized by the Sri Lanka Navy along with the stock of crystal methamphetamine or ice and heroin was brought to the Dikkovita Fisheries Harbour this evening.
Sri Lanka Navy brought the vessel to Dikkovita harbour this evening. The Navy said that 6 fisherfolk aboard the vessel were also taken into custody. The vessel was taken over by the Navy during a maritime operation. Sri Lanka Navy said that a total of 100 kilograms of ice and heroin were found on board the vessel. The valuation process of the stock of drugs has now commenced.
The contribution of this community to the national economy is immense. However, we are paying special attention to the small minority involved in bringing drugs and weapons into the country.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
Government printer Pradeep Pushpakumara said that around 12 million ballot papers for the upcoming local government elections have already been printed.
So far, we printed about 12 million ballot papers. We've completed the printing for 249 local government bodies, and there are only around 90 left to go. However, we've been informed that some changes may be required due to recent court decisions. It's important to note that election printing isn't just about ballot papers. There are many other documents, like ledgers and forms, that we also need to prepare and send to the Election Commission. If the lists of political parties and independent groups contesting in each local body have changed, then all of those documents will need to be reprinted. That process takes time. If we receive the updated information from the Election Commission on time, we can finish everything as planned. But if the information comes in late, we might face some challenges.
Newsfirst with the people.
The Ceylon Electricity Board has requested all rooftop solar system owners to voluntarily switch off their solar inverters during the day due to significantly low electricity demand in the national grid.
The Ceylon Electricity Board has requested all rooftop solar system owners to voluntarily switch off their solar inverters until 3 p.m. from the 13th of April to 21st of April. In a public notice, the CEB said due to the extended holiday period and sunny weather, national electricity demand has plummeted to historic lows, while very high variable renewable energy contribution is placing extraordinary stress on the national grid. As a result, the grid inertia has been critically reduced, leaving it highly vulnerable to sudden disruptions. It added that even a minor fluctuation could trigger partial outages or a nationwide blackout.
Today is the Buck Full Moon Poya Day, and it is on a day like this that Lord Buddha visited Nagadeepa. He preached the noble Sabdhamma to the Naga tribe, clearly explaining that hatred is not appeased by hatred. Commemorating this and other significant events in the history of Buddhism, devotees across Sri Lanka engaged in Amisa and Pratipatti Puja today. The Sirasa Namami Poya Day program, organised on every full moon Poya Day by Sirasa TV and Sirasa FM, was held today at the historic Pilikuttua Rajamahavihara in Gampaha. Today's program commenced with a Buddha Puja conducted early in the morning. The Buddha Puja was performed under the guidance of Venerable Ihaliyagoda Kusalathero, chief incumbent of both the Pilikuttua Rajamahavihara and the Pahalayagoda Sri Sunandarama temples. Following that, a song composed about the historical significance of the Pilikuttua Rajamahavihara was presented to the public. Penned by Venerable Yatavala Sadda Ratanathero, Lihini Minoda gave life to the song with her vocals. The historic background of the Pilikuttua Rajamahavihara was discussed in the Vihara Asana segment. The Sirasa Damsara Dhamma discussion was held under the guidance of Venerable Diyasenpura Vimalathero, lecturer of the Meditation Department at the Kalaniya Nagananda International Buddhist University. A Sandasa Khatikavata sermon aimed at the long-standing sustenance of Buddhism was conducted by Venerable Vaturu Kumbure Dhammaratanathero. The Pansil Malua program was held under the guidance of Venerable Dodamduwe Obahasathero, lecturer of the International Institute of Theravada. A special Dhamma discussion titled Turunu Sit, designed for the youth, was also held today under the guidance of Venerable Tissa Maharame Sumana Dhammathero.
ඒ වගේම කළ පව්කම් ගැන පසුතැවීමත් අකුසලයක්. මේ දෙකම
තරුණිය විතර නවතින්නේ නැතුව මේ
ප්‍රදර්ශනය තරුණ අපිට නිසා ඉතාමත්ම වැදගත්. අපි සූදානම් වෙන්නේ
ඒ අදහසෙන් අයින් ඕනෑම දෙයක් හරිම නිදහසේ මෙතන අදහස් ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න පුළුවන්.
The South Puma segment, which features discussions on traditional culture and arts, featured Venerable Sagama Anomadasithero, Venerable Dimbulwala Arya Dhammathero and Professor Karunaratna Bandara. The Ape Pansala and Army Savandana programs followed thereafter. The Podi Sadhugen Ahanna program, where young children and Samanera monks engaged in a fruitful conversation, was broadcast live from the Pilikuttu Rajamahavihara today. The Poe Day program concluded with the offering of medicinal items and Gilanpasa. When US President Donald Trump announced sweeping tariffs on the 2nd of April, he promised it would help America thrive. But just days after the import taxes kicked in, markets are wobbling, companies are scrambling, and global leaders are pushing back. Now, with the global economy on edge and retaliation mounting, the question isn't just what happens next, but who can afford to wait. On the 2nd of April, US President Donald Trump announced a sweeping set of tariffs, arguing that they would allow the United States to economically flourish. These new import taxes, which Trump imposed via executive orders, have sent shockwaves through global markets as they kicked in this week. But the US President believes they are necessary to address trading imbalances and to protect American jobs and manufacturing. Although he has paused many of the tariffs, Trump has increased pressure on China, the world's second largest economy and the second biggest source of US imports. Despite escalating tensions, Trump insisted today that his tariff policy was quote-unquote doing really well. Trump said on social media, quote, "We are doing really well on our tariff policy. Very exciting for America and the world. It is moving along quickly," unquote. However, the White House press secretary said US President Donald Trump is optimistic about reaching a trade deal with China.
The president be gracious if China intends to make a deal with the United States. If China continues to retaliate, it's not good for China. The United States of America is the strongest, best economy in the world, as evidenced by the more than 75 countries who have called the administration immediately to cut good deals. So the president wants to do what's right for the American people. He wants to see fair trade practices around the globe. And that's his intention and his goal. The president has made it very clear he's open to a deal with China.
How is China responding to Trump's tariff gambit? Despite this, the Chinese government has told its people that it is in a strong position to resist the attacks from the United States. China's leader Xi Jinping told the visiting Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez yesterday that his country and the European Union should jointly resist the unilateral bullying practices of the Trump administration. Next week, Xi Jinping will visit Malaysia, Vietnam and Cambodia. These are all countries that have been hit hard by Trump's tariffs. His ministers have also been meeting counterparts from South Africa, Saudi Arabia and India, talking up greater trade cooperation. How are the other nations reacting? The EU's trade chief will now hold talks with US counterparts in Washington on Monday as the two economic giants seek a negotiated end to their tariffs standoff. On the other hand, French Prime Minister François Bayrou said it was naive and dangerous to think the US can replace China as a trade partner and urged European Union members to stick together in the current climate of global trade tensions. How are multinationals scrambling to dodge US tariffs? Tech giant Apple chartered cargo flights to ferry 600 tons of iPhones, or as many as 1.5 million, to the United States from India after it stepped up production there in an effort to beat President Donald Trump's tariffs. The details of the push provide an insight into the US smartphone company's private strategy to navigate around the Trump tariffs and build up inventory of its popular iPhones in the United States, one of its biggest markets. Analysts have warned that US prices of iPhones could surge given Apple's high reliance on imports. Many sellers on Amazon also count on China for manufacturing and assembly due to lower costs and established infrastructure. Up to 70% of goods on Amazon come from China, with nearly all imports from China being taxed a staggering 145% under the latest tariffs. Amazon sellers are having to decide whether to raise prices or absorb the vastly increased cost of importing their goods. Amazon CEO said that its vast network of third-party sellers will likely pass the cost on to consumers. In the latest update on this developing story, US President Donald Trump's administration has exempted smartphones and computers from reciprocal tariffs, including the 125% levies imposed on Chinese imports. US Customs and Border Patrol published a notice late on Friday explaining the goods would be excluded from Trump's 10% global tariff on most countries and the much larger Chinese import tax. The move comes after concerns from US tech companies that the price of gadgets could skyrocket as many of them are made in China. The exemptions also include other electronic devices and components, including semiconductors, solar cells and memory cards. Meanwhile, US envoy Steve Witkoff met Vladimir Putin in St. Petersburg as Donald Trump urged the Russian president to get moving on a ceasefire in Ukraine. The Kremlin said the meeting between US envoy Steve Witkoff and Vladimir Putin in St. Petersburg lasted for more than 4 hours and focused on aspects of a Ukrainian settlement. The talks, Witkoff's third with Putin this year, were described by Special Envoy Kirill Dmitriev as productive. The Kremlin said the meeting focused on various aspects of the Ukrainian settlement without elaborating. Trump has been pressing Moscow and Kyiv to agree on a ceasefire deal, but has failed to extract any major concessions from the Kremlin, despite several rounds of talks between Russian and US officials. Strong dust winds swept across Delhi and its surrounding areas yesterday. The adverse weather conditions have disrupted flight operations at airports, with at least 205 flights being delayed and at least 50 flights diverted from their scheduled destinations. A strong dust storm whipped up Delhi and surrounding areas yesterday, a day after a dust storm and moderate rain lashed parts of the national capital. The storm caused huge damage in some parts of the capital, with branches of trees falling on roads and cars. Power supply across Delhi NCR was also affected after branches of trees and other objects fell on the electrical lines. The Indian Meteorological Department has issued a weather alert in Delhi for thunderstorms and lightning through the day. The adverse weather brought flight operations at airports to a near standstill, leaving hundreds of passengers stranded for hours and triggering a wave of complaints on social media over airline mismanagement. Airport sources told foreign media that there was a sudden spike in crowding at boarding gates late Friday night and early Saturday due to diverted and delayed flights landing at the same time. The China Meteorological Administration has issued warnings of extremely strong winds for northern China this weekend.
Wow.
Workers have already been told to hurry home. Classes have been suspended and outdoor events have been cancelled as northern China braces for extreme winds this weekend. Millions have been urged to stay indoors, with state media outlets warning that people weighing less than 50 kilograms may be easily blown away. For the first time in a decade, Beijing has issued an orange alert for gales, the second highest in a 4-tier weather warning system. All parks have been asked to remain closed and major sporting events have been suspended. The alert has prompted the cancellation of train services in the region, including flight services. Non-essential travel has been told to be avoided.
Domestic tourism is a big part of Sri Lanka's tourism scene. This holiday season, Nuwara Eliya is filled with locals enjoying the cool breeze and gorgeous views. As we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News, we'll leave you with some beautiful shots from Nuwara Eliya's top tourist spots. Good night and take care.
Happy headlines. Happy headlines.